Welcome to the Pastor Show. It's July 29th, 2020. It's National Chicken Wing Day. So happy Chicken Wing Day, Noel.
Well, thank you, Mark. I did not know when I woke up this morning that today was Chicken Wing Day, but that's pretty interesting. Me and my wife, we're not real big chicken wing fans. Occasionally we'll have wings. It's interesting moving from Ohio to Texas. I know people in Texas eat chicken wings, but they were a much bigger deal in Ohio. It seemed to be one of the staple foods there. We would have chicken wings for church potlucks, not so much here. Now, my youngest daughter, she likes chicken wings, but I have to tell you, her favorite is not chicken wings, but it's chicken feet. So when she was in China, she would have fried, spicy chicken feet, which is something that's pretty hard to find here in America, but I don't know. I guess everybody likes something different. How about you and Meredith, y'all? Buffalo fans? Buffalo wing fans?
Yeah, so Meredith is more spicy than I am, so don't tell her I said that, but she is, and she likes chicken wings. I like them all right. We'll both go to Buffalo Wild Wings when it gets here, but I'm not just in an urge for it or anything like that. So.
Well, I have, Mark, one chicken wing story, and I never get a chance to tell it. I've tried to work it into a sermon, and it's just never fit. But about 15 years ago, and it may be a little longer, my wife and I were driving through Buffalo, New York. Of course, Buffalo is the home of the buffalo wing, the chicken wing. And so we did a little research, and we found the restaurant that, at least reportedly, is the very first place somebody ever got the idea of dipping a chicken wing in hot sauce. It's called, I think, the Anchor Bar and Grill, and we went there for lunch one day, and I had the original buffalo wings. I don't remember them, being anything special, but we had them. And so that's my story. That's my chicken wing story for the day.
Yeah, at least you got one. I don't even have a story, so.
Well, work on that, Mark. You need a chicken wing story.
Sure.
Now, shifting gears just a little bit, I know that you and Meredith have been locked in battle since March, and you're playing games and seeing who at the end of into the summer. Is that right? How's it going? Who's winning?
Yeah, so it's our COVID tournament, and so when this COVID thing is over, I guess is when the tournament's over, and whoever wins gets to choose a weekend getaway that we get to go on. And right now, at 132 games, isn't that crazy? Meredith, 67 games, and I'm at 65. So, prayer warriors, I need your help. Trying to win this thing.
I'm pulling for Meredith. We'll see. And, if you're doing it all the way through COVID, who knows when it's going to win? I mean, when it's going to end? I mean, you could get up to 1,000 games.
I'll keep you posted. I sure will keep you posted. Pastor Noel, every week we've heard from your heart just the devotion that God's been teaching you in the Bible. Looking forward to hearing what you have to share with us today.
Well, thank you, Mark. I want to be brief today, but I want to share something I hope will be an encouragement. There is a historical account in the Bible in Joshua chapter 3 that I think is very interesting, especially in the time that we're in. The Israelites were right on the edge of the promised land. They had left Egypt. They had been wandering in the desert for 40 years, but finally they're ready to go in. Moses had been their leader, but now Moses has died. The new leader is Joshua. They had been looking forward to going into the promised land for generations, and now it's time. So you can imagine they would have been filled with a lot of emotions. They would have been excited, that now they get to do this. They probably would have been filled with fear as well, because there were some enemies across the river. There were enemies in the promised land, and so they would have been fearful about that. There was a big unknown, what would happen next, and so there would have been a lot of anxiety. So right in the middle of that, there's some interesting verses. Let me read these. Joshua chapter 3, the first 4 verses. Joshua started early the next morning. They went as far as the Jordan and stayed there before the crossing. So they're right next to the Jordan River. When they cross the river, they'll be in the promised land. It says, after 3 days, the officers commanded the people, when you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord your God, carried by the priest, you are to follow it, but keep a distance of about 1,000 yards between yourselves and the ark. Don't go near it, so that you can see the way to go. Listen, for you haven't traveled this way before. So here's what was happening. The command was given to the people. The ark is going to go first. That symbolizes that God was taking them, leading them into the promised land. But they didn't need to just rush close to the ark. They would have desired to do that because the ark represented safety. The ark represented something, it represented God to them. And so it represented something that they could depend upon. But the people were told to stay back so that they could keep their eyes on the ark, so that they could keep their eyes on the Lord. And here's the reason. It says, because you've never been this way before. You know, Mark, we're at a time today when we've never been this way before. None of us in our lifetimes ever experienced anything like this. And I know there are a lot of emotions. There are people that are fearful. There's a lot of anxiety. I think the instructions that were given to the Israelites in this passage are good for us today. We need to keep our eyes on the Lord. One step at a time. We don't need to rush ahead. We just need to trust the Lord, and He will get us across the Jordan. And I know these are discouraging days, and I know people are fearful and anxious, but if we'll just keep our eyes on the Lord, remember, we've never been this way before, but the Lord will get us across the Jordan if we'll just trust Him. So that's an encouragement to me, and I hope so to our viewers today.
Absolutely. Just reminding ourselves that while we've never been there, God is not thwarted. He has, so we should trust Him, you know. So I love that. Thank you for that encouragement for us, Pastor. You know, Sunday you gave a pretty extraordinary challenge to the church. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
So we talked about our missions lifeline. It's a brand new offering. I think probably will end up being the largest missions offering that we've ever taken as a church. Our goal is $100,000. Now, this isn't a campaign. You can't give over a year. It's a one-day offering, August the 16th. We're praying that we can collect $100,000. Not for us, not for our needs here, but we're going to give it all away. We're going to give it away to our mission partners. We have a formula, who's going to get what and how we're going to divide it up. But we'll quickly give it to these partners. Many of them are just going through urgent times. Many of them are going through a crisis during this pandemic season. We want to be a blessing to them.
So why is it important now?
Well, that's a good question, and we have to be sensitive, I think, with the answer. But the truth is, there are so many churches that are struggling financially today. Many of them can't meet. Many of them, when they do meet, like our church, the attendance is much smaller. We can't pass offering plates. And so as a result, many churches are struggling financially. And so those struggling churches have had to make some decisions, priorities with the funds that they have. And many of those churches have decided to withhold their missions giving and just focus the money right there on their local needs. Now, every church will make its own decision. But God has been so good to us that we haven't had those difficulties. Our people have been so faithful and so generous. I mean, we have needs. We have financial needs, certainly. But the Lord has just taken care of us in a special way. And so I think when the Lord blesses you, He blesses you for a purpose, for a reason. And I believe the reason He's blessed us is so that we can turn and bless those mission organizations that haven't been funded like they would have been funded had other churches been able to give. I think this is an opportunity for us to bless those organizations. Some of them are just in dire straits, really. So here's how I want our church to look at this. Those missionaries and those mission organizations, people that we have partnered with, some of them for over a decade, they are praying that God will provide for them. In the middle of their difficulty, Lord, please provide. God wants to provide. I want us to be the the people who connect the prayers of those people with the generosity of our Lord, He has blessed us so that we can bless them. And I want us to connect their prayers with the Lord. And that's what this offering is about. You know, we love our missionary partners. As I said, some of them we've been partners with for years and years and years. We've invested financially, we've prayed, we've invested energy, we've sent mission trip after mission trip. We love our mission partners. But now it's a difficult time. But when you love somebody, you don't abandon them when times are hard. And so I think the best way we can love our mission partners right now is not to pull back because we're worried about our church or our personal finances in the days to come. But I think now it's time to step forward in bold faith and show them we're with them. We're with them. And so that's what this offering is about. And that's why now. That's why now.
I know that you had an earlier conversation with our missions pastor, Kaleb, and talking about some of these mission partners. Love to hear about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to, we're going to put that in. It was previously recorded earlier today. And I just want our church to hear from Kaleb. We have a number of missionary partners. 9 of those are a part of this offering. There are some that are not because they don't have urgent needs, but there are 9 that need a lifeline. And so Kaleb does the best job of talking about the different needs, and he and his team who have done the research. So listen to what Kaleb has to say. Kaleb, thanks for joining our pastor's show to talk to us a little bit about our Missions Lifeline offering.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm glad to finally be on the infamous pastor show, and this Missions Lifeline is so exciting. I love to be able to connect and reconnect, especially during this time with our mission partners. So,
well, I think it's a great opportunity for us to. You came up with this title, Missions Lifeline, for us to throw a lifeline to some of these important partners. Now we have many mission partners, and we're not giving to all of them as a part of this offering, and I'll ask you why some and not the others at the end of this. But let's walk through the 9 that we're giving to. First of all, there are some Southern Baptist mission partners. Tell us who those are.
Yeah, absolutely. So many of you are familiar with or heard the names or abbreviations as many of the Southern Baptists are familiar with, the North American Mission Board, or NAM, as well as the International Mission Board, or the IMB. And so both of those partners we're going to be giving to the Lottie Moon offering and the Annie Armstrong offering, respectively, and 100% of any funds that go to that, those funds, operations, go directly to the field, to missionaries and church planners who are operating either in the U.S. or North America or across the world.
I love how careful they are to make sure that the funds go to where they are most needed. Now, there are a couple of partners that really came out of some mission trips that our church has taken over the years. Tell us about those.
Yeah, both of these partners, actually, we've been sending teams yearly for over a decade to each one of them. And those partners are one by one to Jamaica, as well as the Salisaka Baptist Church in Ecuador. And so, like I said, we have dozens and dozens of our members and of our community who serve on these trips each year. And the Ecuador trip this summer was canceled, and one of the parts of our support is directly tied to the lack of travel because of the coronavirus pandemic. And so our funds are going to go to help support in an interim way some of the staff and nationals there that depend on trips to pay for basic needs for their own families. And so I'm excited to be able to do that for them.
And I've heard you tell some of the stories about their needs. It's extraordinary. You're right. Now, there are a couple of local partners that are a part of the Missions Lifeline formula. Tell us who those are.
Yeah. We have so many great local ministries and partners. Two of them specifically we want to highlight with our Missions Lifeline giving, and those are Heartbeat CPC, or Heartbeat Christian Pregnancy Center, as well as the Christian Men and Women Job Corps right here in Nacogdoches. And so the Heartbeat Pregnancy Center just is scraping by, doing what they have to make it to their annual fundraiser in October, and as we know, that's even in question. And the Christian Men and Women Job Corps, just with the decrease of giving, funds are tight for a lot of people, and so they are behind what they need to financially sustain their ministries for the year. And they're expecting a big wave coming this fall for both sides, as they've been kind of delayed in their summer ministries.
Now, I don't know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, you and I had an opportunity to meet Jarvis James. And he is one of the most fascinating, one of the most impressive men I have ever met. He is going to be with us this Sunday, and I'm going to interview him during the service. I can't wait for our church to meet him. But he has a ministry, St. Louis and Dallas. That's a part of our Lifeline. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been able to, over the last couple of years, spend a couple different trips, one to St. Louis and a couple to Dallas as well. Dallas specifically, he's got a new ministry going, and just a ministry, a new church, which as you get to hear from Jarvis, you'll hear that one ministry turns into 10 for him. He is going 24 hours a day. But specifically in Dallas, they were given a building that was not in use, that really had taken many hard years of sitting empty. So the Dallas Baptist Association was able to give him this building, and he's begun ministry there in East Dallas. And they need some help right now to get the building up to code so that they can begin going back to in-person gatherings in this fall. And so simple things that we don't even think about, like air conditioning and fire extinguishers, are some of those urgent needs that we're going to help with.
Very good. Now, Zimbabwe and Tanzania. We have more than one partnership with those countries, and there's some great needs there. Tell us how that's a part of our Missions Lifeline offering.
Yeah, absolutely. So Zimbabwe and Tanzania, like many other countries in Africa, they operate on a small business merchant-style economy. And with the coronavirus, for both Tanzania and Zimbabwe, two different situations, but generally speaking, the countries were shut down to all merchant operations. And so some of the, it's not just the general population, but some of the churches that we are directly tied to, for Shinyanga Baptist Association, this is some of the long-term results of a long ministry there. For our missionaries, Terry and Twyla Bell were originally working there in the Shinyanga Baptist Association, and we've continued to support them, and they've continued to spread their ministry through evangelism crusades and things throughout their region. But they're needing temporary assistance to do the same things, to buy food, to get access, specifically in Zimbabwe, to water, clean water, or containers to hold clean water. Zimbabwe is a national crisis. It is a pandemic beyond coronavirus. It's a bad situation. And so we've been able to work alongside Charlotte Wooten and E3 Partners to provide assistance in both of those places, in addition to our connection to Shinyanga, Tanzania.
You know, some of the stories that you've shared, and maybe in a future show we'll have an opportunity to talk through some of those. It's just heartbreaking to hear what the people there are going through, what our ministry partner, what the leaders are going through there with a lack of clean water. I'm glad we're able to help with them. So Kaleb, those are our 9 partners that we're giving to through our Missions Lifeline offering. But we have I guess twice that many more partners that we're not giving to in this special offering. Now we'll talk about some of those in next week's show. I want to have you back to do that. But just say a quick word about why we're giving to these 9 and not the other 15 that are on our list.
Yeah, absolutely. As many of you know, when you're in missions and you are serving on those areas, the need is always there. But when in conversation with them in this coronavirus season, the name for this offering or this giving day, Missions Lifeline, came just from the language that I used in conversation with them, is that we want to be, as First Baptist Church of Nacogdoches, not just a financial contributor, but we wanted to be ministry partners. We wanted to be a lifeline to them. And so these 9 needs, these 9 ministries and organizations are ones that have urgent, timely financial needs as a result of coronavirus and in the next months to come. And luckily, we're thankful. We are praising for the many partners that are doing well. I'm excited to even share some of those next week with y'all. God's provided for them in extra ways that even those ministry partners didn't anticipate. And so that's a little description of this distinguishment between the Missions Lifeline and then our continued support in many other ways to the rest of our ministry partners.
Well, that's a good word. And we're giving to so many others. I think a lot of people probably don't realize that just in a typical month, not counting our special offerings like Annie Armstrong, Lottie Moon, and others, we're giving about $20,000 to $25,000 every single month to our mission partners. We believe in these people. They're doing important work. We're invested in them, and we'll continue to do that. This Lifeline is really on top of that to address some urgent needs. Thank you, Kaleb, for putting all this together, you and your missions team. And we'll look forward to having you back next week to talk about some of the needs and some of the great stories about our other partners. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that brief interview. There's more information on our website. On our website, you can see the specific formula that we're using to divide these gifts up and how we'll be able to quickly get them to the organizations and the partners that so badly need them. And then next week, Mark, I've already recorded it, but we're going to bring Kaleb back onto our show to share about some of our other partners and some needs that they have. Not so much financial needs, but other needs. And so I look forward to our church hearing some of those stories.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to that. Now, a couple weeks ago, you mentioned another thing that was coming up that's kind of different in our church, and that's our schedule. We're changing our schedule on August the 16th to where we're doing Sunday school at 9 o'clock, and then we're going to have our worship time at 10:15, and it's 2 services that will be meeting at the exact same time. And so we've got our celebration service that's in the sanctuary with our orchestra and our choir, and then you'll be preaching from the pulpit there. And then in the CLC, we've got the summit service, and that will be a praise team. Austin will be leading that, and it'll be live music, and then they'll actually video you in live from the sanctuary, and we'll get to see you preaching there in the CLC as well. So I'm so excited about this thing. It's coming. It's happening in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's almost here, and I'm so looking forward to it. And we've talked about it a lot. You know, we've talked about different aspects of it. Why are we doing it? Why are we doing it now? We've talked about the screen and how that may seem a little different for the summit service, the contemporary service, but how this is actually a pretty common thing that churches are doing today, and how we're optimistic and hopeful it'll be a really good experience. But there's something I don't think that we have said that I want to say, and that is that we really want both services to have a personal touch. And what I mean by that is, first of all, I'm going to be in both services. I'm going to be live in the summit service and the contemporary service at the beginning, and I'm going to share a couple of things. I want to be a part of that service, and then I'll be a part of the celebration service in the sanctuary as I preach the sermon. So I'm going to be in both services, and then when we come to the invitation prayer time at the end of the message, we will have a minister, we will have a pastor there to lead that time. That'll mostly be me and you, Mark, but some others may help as well. And really, all of our ministers are going to be involved in both services. Even Austin and Andre, to an extent, now not as much as the rest of us, but to an extent, you'll see them live in both services from time to time. But all of our other ministers, you'll see them, they'll be present in both of our services. And really, Mark, what I fear, and this has been my fear since I've been pastor here, what I fear is that some people will see one service as our primary service and one service as our secondary service. And that's just not what our intent is. It never has been. And even when these two services, two different styles, when this was created 13, 14 years ago, it was never the intent of leadership that there would be a primary service and a secondary service. But that's been hard. Just because of the room that we're in and the setup and the time. I think a lot of people have communicated this to me, that, hey, we have a primary service and then we have a tack-on service, a secondary service. I'm hoping this new schedule and the new room and the investment we're making in that will help us communicate that we don't have a primary and a secondary. We have two primary services, and both of those are important to us. And we're going to invest energy. I'm going to invest energy. Our whole staff's going to invest energy in both services. Our heart is to reach people. At the end of the day, we want to honor God and reach people for Christ. And I think this is a good step in that direction. And I'm ready. August 16th won't be long. I'm ready.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And just that we get to share the hallways together, that we get to, go to lunch together afterwards, that we're all together. We're one church, one body. I'm so excited about that and looking forward to that for sure. But what does the rest of the schedule look like? I know that there's other things that are involved in this schedule thing. What's going on there?
Mark, and this won't surprise anybody, but these are such difficult days to make a decision. It seems like things change every week. The situation, the numbers, the guidance by our government, the expectations of the community, everything's changing. And many of the organizations that we depend upon here just for schedules, like schools, the university, even some of those organizations that our community really looks to for leadership, many of them are still in the deciding phase, which makes it more difficult for us to make decisions. But we're going to do the best we can. And so I have some answers. I may not have all the answers that people would like. I don't have all the answers I would like to have, but I have some answers and I want to share with our people. First of all, Sunday school, Sunday morning Sunday school is going to begin for all age groups on Sunday, September the 13th. Now, I know many of our classes really want to meet on the 16th, and I understand that. Many of our classes are meeting during the week. You're finding times to meet, and I think that's a good thing if it's safe for your class to do that. But the reason we're pushing this back to the 13th is really Sunday school is an all or nothing kind of thing. We really can't have one age group meet and not another age group. If we're going to have adults, we really need to have children's ministry. And children's ministry, I want to talk about that in a moment. That's a really complicated piece. And so as we've sat down with the staff and we've just asked everybody to, honestly, what can you do and how quickly can we get there? We feel like since it's an all or nothing thing, the best thing we can do is just to mark that day on the calendar, Sunday, September 13th. That's when it's going to begin. Next, choir rehearsal. Choir rehearsal is going to begin Wednesday, August the 5th. And so that's a pretty big part of our church. I've taught with Andre. I'm very impressed with his system to socially distance in choir rehearsal. Sometimes we have 70 or 80 people come for choir rehearsal. Now, we don't expect that many during this season, but he's ready, however many come, and he's just got a good system. So that'll start August the 5th. Youth ministry, midweek youth ministry is continuing. They took a couple of weeks off after youth camp, but they're back tonight. Wednesday night, they're going. College ministry will begin whenever the college students return. And I understand some of them are going to be returning. They're going to trickle in this year. It's going to be a little different. But Kaleb and his team, as soon as some college students drive onto campus, they'll be busy, and college ministry will begin as the Lord brings back the college students. Now, let's talk about children's ministry, because because that's a little different. It's a different animal than the others. I was talking to Melanie in staff meeting a couple of days ago, and what I told her is the preaching end of this is pretty easy. So it just takes one person to preach, maybe two people. I mean, I've got to have Jonathan. Nobody would know what I was saying, but we can have a preaching service, and whether 4 people come or 4,000 people come, we're set. But children's ministry is different. Melanie can't all by herself take care of all the kids that could possibly come. And so that makes the timing of children's ministry very difficult. And then there's some other factors. I just want to run through a partial list of these just so everybody will appreciate the difficulty. One is, and this is first on the list, I want to laugh at this because it just seems like an impossible thing, but how do we get the children to do social distancing? And so if you know the answer to that, give us a call. The other concern is cleaning facility resource requirements. So if one child handles a toy or something, that toy can't be passed to another child without first being cleaned, which it probably can't be cleaned on a Sunday morning. So that creates some difficulty. And then maybe the biggest factor is just having sufficient workers. We have to have workers, college students who are back, and our regular volunteers. We have to have enough workers to properly staff to provide a safe environment for our children. Now, some of our workers, it's not safe for them to return. Some of them are senior adults. Some college students are gone, and they may not come back, or they may come back at a later time. So that's making this whole thing very difficult. But here's how you can help. There's a way you can help. We need volunteers in our children's ministry. We need people who perhaps have never worked in children's ministry before or have not done so in many years. We need you to sign up. Maybe you can just work once a month or twice a month. That's okay. We need you to let us know. We want to serve. I want to serve. Because really, the children's ministry has to open up before many other things open up. There's so many things depending upon that. But children's ministry can't open up without the proper number of volunteers. And another volunteer difficulty is Melanie can't just staff for Sunday morning, because you never know when one of the volunteers will be exposed during the week to someone with COVID, and so they have to quarantine or they have to stay home. So at the last minute, she may have a lot of people that just have to pull out, and she's got to have a full bench of people that she can pull in at the last minute. So you can help our children's ministry, and you can help our whole church and our plan to open things back up by volunteering. Now, we have a whole process, so honestly, it's not just as simple as calling and saying, sign me up. And we don't want to short circuit that. That whole thing is it's in place for a purpose. So it's important that you call Melanie soon. So when you see this video, if you can give her one Sunday a month, call her. Say, hey, sign me up, start the process, and then she'll reach back out to you and tell you how it is that you can serve and help us out there. So that's children's ministry. Now, some people have asked about Sunday nights. What are we going to do Sunday nights? There's youth stuff, there's children's stuff, there's adult stuff. Listen, Mark, I don't know. I think we're just going to have to take a step at a time. Right now, priority one is worship on Sunday morning, that we have 2 excellent worship services, that we have children's ministry at those times. And then we'll focus on Sunday school, and I've given you that date. And we get all that figured out, and then we'll start talking about Sunday night. But I think just one step at a time. However, I failed to mention something earlier that I think will interest some people. And we'll talk about this Sunday. One of the things we are going to do for children, and there may be pieces of children's Sunday morning, Sunday worship ministry that may start before the 13th. We just have to see. But one thing we plan to do on August the 16th, in the back part of our summit worship that happens in the gym, we'll have chairs in the front and the new platform and all the lights and everything. But we're going to put a number of round tables in the back of that room. And we're going to put little signs on them that say, one family at a time, reserved for families with little children. And so if you have little children, and we were told by some families this week with little children, hey, if you would give us a table, we can corral our kids around that table. We can give them something to color on. Melanie provides a great packet for the kids. But some families said, if you give us a table, we can bring our children and we can pay attention to the message and what's going on. And the children will be back a little ways. If you're a parent, listen, your children will not disrupt the service. If there's some talking, if there's some issues, don't be nervous about that. In fact, and I'm going further than I wanted to go perhaps, but Mark, I want us to be a church where there's a lot of kids making a lot of noise. There's some churches in our area, they don't worry about kids ever making any noise. They don't worry about teenagers running up and down the hallways. They don't worry about any of that because they don't have any of those people. Listen, parents, your children are welcome. Bring them to the service on the 16th. You'll get your own table. You'll be socially distanced from other people. Do your best. Keep the kids focused on something, but don't fret if they're not. It'll be fine. And we'd love for you to come back and join us for that. Now, Mark, I want you to say just a word about Sunday school. So we're not starting until September 13th, but there is something starting at 9 o'clock for Sunday school on August the 16th. All these numbers run together. But tell us what's going to happen that day.
Yeah, I know that there were several Sunday school classes that were real anxious and wanting to start in August. And believe me, we hurt with you that we're waiting until September to do that. But on August the 16th, we do want to meet with our Sunday school teachers and leaders. And so we'll do that for all of our Sunday school classes, adults, youth, children, and our university teachers. You'll be getting something in the mail. So even though this might be the first time you hear about it, it won't be the last. You'll get a postcard in the mail. You'll get an email from the minister that's over those age groups. Well, we want to get together, and there's a couple of things we want to do. One, we want to give you some information. There's just too much information to do on this pastor show or to do an announcement at the end of the service. And so we want you as teachers to know kind of what's going on and kind of the process that we walk through. We also want to just have a time of prayer, praying for our Sunday school classes and for how we're going to reignite these classes when they begin in September. And then also, I know, Pastor, you've got some things you want to share with each group. And so I know you'll come by and share with us as well. And so we're looking forward to August 16th and meeting with our leadership then. And then they'll be able to disseminate that information to their class members. So if you're not a leader, call your Sunday school teacher. And the week after that, they've got some information for you.
Well, good. I think that's good. So just so people know, there'll be 4 different meetings. Mark, you will meet with the adult teachers and leaders. Kaleb will be meeting with the college Sunday school leaders, and David with the youth, and Melanie with children and preschool. And I do have something I want to share. I'll pop in each of the meeting for just a moment or two and share something just from my heart. But I think it'll be good. Hey, just before we break this up, before we close this down, this has been a great week with children's ministry. We've done this family outreach event. We've reached out. In fact, I was able to go on one of the visits on Monday night and visit one of the children. So Mark, just give us a brief. I want to get Melly on here in the next few weeks, just to hear about all that's been going on this summer. But you speak to what's happening this week in children's ministry.
It's been an exciting week, really, here in the life of our church. We've had a lot of activity. I've been so thankful for that in the children's building. Parents and children have come in all times during the day and packed up these packets for our visitors that came to Vacation Bible School last year in 2019. And our volunteer team has called all of our visitors and asked, would you be interested in having a packet from our church? We're so sad you couldn't come to Vacation Bible School this year. And so everyone has said yes. How awesome is that? And now delivering those. And so Pastor, you got to do that on Monday. Meredith and I delivered on Tuesday night. And so we're so excited that that's been a big part of what's been going on in our outreach ministry with children this week. tonight, they're actually packing boxes for Operation Christmas Child. So every year at Vacation Bible School, we collect an offering and we do some boxes for Operation Christmas Child that will be put into all the other boxes that we do in November. And so Melanie wanted to continue that tradition of doing that. And so that's what we're doing Wednesday night. And so that's going to be super fun. Hopefully you get this in time to make plans, be a part of that, bring your children to come and be a part of that tonight as well.
You know, an Operation Christmas Child for us is a year-round ministry. And it's a ministry a lot of churches are involved in, a lot of churches toward the end of the year, and that's great. But Melanie has such a commitment to it, and it's such a good ministry. It's a year-round thing. I just mention this, just put a bug in somebody's ear perhaps. Our children bring an offering during Vacation Bible School. Every day they have a little contest, and they get really excited about it. And that money goes to support this Operation Christmas Child. They buy supplies and things to put in the boxes. Last year, they collected about $3,000. The kids donated that much. And so all that money goes to help them put that together. This year, we didn't have Vacation Bible School, so that money was not given. And you know, we're going to find the money. I mean, this is just so important. But if somebody'd like to talk to me about that, give me a call. I would love to, you know, just to make sure that we never miss a beat with Operation Christmas Child, and that nothing goes missing because we weren't able to have VBS this year. Hey, so I think this has been a good pastor show. Thank you, Mark, for sort of facilitating this, and we'll talk to people Sunday, and then we'll be back on the show next week.
See y'all then.
Thanks.